Good morning. Welcome to the commencement ceremony of Beverly Hills High School's class of 1994. Will the audience please rise and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? Place your right hand over your heart. Ready, begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. It is with pride and great pleasure that I welcome you to this event. Thank you to the Board of Education, President Lillian Raffel, Superintendent Saul Levine, honored guests, members of the faculty, our families and friends, for sharing this occasion with us. Most importantly, I would like to thank Principal Ben Bushman for being a supervisor, confidant, and friend to us all. Behind me is the graduating class of 1994. Today is the last time we will stand unified as students of Beverly Hills High School. It was during our years here that we shaped ourselves, realized who we really are, and discerned our own beliefs. We discovered ourselves with the immeasurable and exhaustive efforts, assistance, and guidance of our teachers and administrators. But it now becomes our responsibility to use the knowledge and insight we've gained here to interpret our own future. What we have experienced here has laid the foundation for our future, a future that hovers between two worlds. We are in a state of limbo, where the old, easily defined rules no longer apply, and the new rules have yet to be established. We face an era in which change and uncertainty are the only constants. The importance of author Michael Venture's words cannot be emphasized enough. Our future will be what we are, not what we imagine. When we ask ourselves where we will be in 20 years, we often picture ourselves attaining the elusive American dream. Our years growing up at Beverly have taught us that the American dream is as individual and distinctive as each of us sitting before you today. However, the years here have also taught us how to capture those very dreams. As we confront the erosion of conventional America, it is clear that we are on our own. The future will be decided by our own limits, deficiencies, aptitudes, and capabilities. It is we who exert the only power that will mold our future. Our place in history is as undefined as our generation, and we are forced to rely on our own resources and strength of spirit, the same resources and spirit which have been nurtured at this school since the first day we walked on campus. As we say goodbye to these years, we must remember that history is not something that just happens. Our future is an adventure, as potentially exciting as it is terrifying. We will take all that we have learned in the past 4 years, and we will decisively venture forward. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you Beverly Hills High School's class of 1994.
We are a dinghy on choppy waters that has just escaped the shore. A clapboard boat that's come unhinged in the ocean's crushing furor. With queasy faces and uneasy eyes, we look to our captain, reliant. And in that second of grudging dependence, we are abandoned and grow defiant. The captain is no longer crew. He has deserted the foundering ship. We have no leader to guide us through our harrowing, hazardous trip. But the crew is strong and carries on and builds its own lifeboat. With wits as oars and ambition as glue, it gingerly begins to float. Alone in a sinking ship, with no captain to guide us and no coast guard to rescue us. On graduation day, we have no choice but to scramble to build our own individual lifeboats and pilot ourselves. But as a generation, the ship we have built for ourselves is sturdy, promising, and legendary. Our generation first gained notoriety through its music. Like us, it was loud, angry, and insightful. The music spurred the fashion, and, joined in the holy union of commercial popularity, the music and the fashion begot attitude. Alienated by a culture that did not want to understand us, we turned to Nirvana, Red Hot Chili Peppers, Ice-T, and other music groups that voiced the displacement, the frustration, and the cynicism that bonded us. That was all we had. Where the generation before us was unified through pivotal events, such as the Vietnam War and Watergate, we were left largely unmoved and unmotivated by the Gulf War and White Watergate. Soon our cultural dislocation manifested in the grunge look. Our slovenly, asexual, thrift shop look and propensity for self-mutilation gave voice to our intense fear of being the overlooked subculture. Our insecurity created an anti-fashion fashion, popularized by our music idols and half-generated by the media. The media, which has long been our companion, our reflection, and at times, our mother. We have been weaned on instant images and other technological advances that have made us cynical, irreverent, and overexposed. We've become the seen everything generation, a disillusioned group that feels that it has seen and done it all, vicariously through the media. But we have also regressed in our viewing choices. We contemptuously watch such limited TV shows as The Brady Bunch and Gilligan's Island. But while we mock their artlessness and simplicity, we often crave the stability they represent, the permanence that we, as the first generation of latchkey kids, have never felt. Like our recycled fashion, our affection for discarded pop culture icons reveals a yearning for a more secure era. To define a generation is to sacrifice a personality. The word is infinitely too broad and too narrow. Like everybody else in the world, we can be described as drifters, dreamers, and doers. But for us, those terms aren't mutually exclusive. What makes us so matchless in identity and unequaled in character is our perfected fusion of those three. We have the confidence, the vision, and the persistence to act and achieve, but the passions and the fascinations that keep us balanced and intriguing. We're a generation of sunsets and rice, two completely polarized images that somehow blend to form one stunning watercolor. A sunset is metaphysical, abstract, and cannot be understood. Like lab rats, we have been examined, probed and pondered, pontificated on and overanalyzed, and yet we remain a riddle. For centuries, The sunset has been considered with the meticulous eye of a scientist, regarded with the disdainful eye of a pragmatist, and cherished by the incredulous eye of a romantic. It is a synthesis of all things admirable and elusive, and captures all hope for tomorrow in its orange rays as it settles over the earth's ledge. With it, it takes not only our childish optimism, but also our complete, unwavering faith that yes, tomorrow will come, and perhaps we can make it even better than our today. And rice is a sunset's natural antithesis. It's sturdy and dense. That's where its value lies, in its strength and its promise. There is nothing mystical about the white grain, only the knowledge that it has nourished thousands of noble warriors before us, and that we can be assured that it will sustain us in our future battles. And we have to be prepared to fight. We have been told repeatedly that we are a generation of diminished expectations, that we shouldn't believe that anything is possible anymore, and that it is foolish to anticipate affluence and success. We've been told that the window of opportunity is slowly closing on us, and that our safety nets have come unraveled. So what did we do? We went out and opened our own windows and weaved our own safety nets. I can't tell you who we are, mostly because we're still not sure. But I do know that we're a little lost, a lot loved, independent, defiant, and for now, floating gingerly in our makeshift lifeboats. We're too old to whale and too young to sail. But we spent the last 4 years arduously learning how to pilot our own ships through often unfriendly waters. And we've become pretty damn good navigators.
For the beauty of the earth, 50 years ago this month, American soldiers landed on the shores of Normandy. Their heroism led to the Allied victory in World War II and ultimately allowed us to become the first post-Cold War generation. The graduating classes of the early 40s could not have been asked to define their generation. It was defined for them by international events. The men who graduated from high school in those years were handed their diplomas and went directly to war. Thankfully, our class does not have to face a world war. Instead, we have a different kind of challenge. Without an outside conflict to define us, we must define ourselves. We face a difficult task. Are we to define ourselves by our privileges or by our problems? We have been fortunate to be students in one of the most distinguished high schools in America, and certainly one of the best known. Yet while we were students at Beverly, our graduating class endured years of disaster in Los Angeles. We saw the senselessness of the riots, felt the terror of the earthquake, and watched homes be destroyed just minutes away in floods and fires. Recently, we watched as rock icon Kurt Cobain took his own life, and actor River Phoenix died of a drug overdose. Only a week ago today, we were all riveted to our TV screens, watching O.J. Simpson and the unfolding of an American tragedy. In just the last few weeks, we saw generations before us mourn the loss of a President, Richard Nixon, and a First Lady, Jacqueline Kennedy. Here at Beverly, we felt the pain as our friend and classmate Lisa Laxer lost her 3-year battle with cancer in September. Just a few months ago, many of us also agonized over the sudden death of our middle school history teacher, Mr. Ron Brown. As high school students, we have seen tragic events not only overseas, but here in our own backyard. While other American generations knew of the enemies outside, our generation knows that the enemy is not just the stranger. It is significant, I believe, that the Chinese write the word crisis using 2 characters. One of the characters signifies danger, the other, opportunity. Our task is to make sure that our generation will define itself by seeing the opportunities in the crises which we face. We must be known not as the generation that drowned in disillusion or indolence, but as the one that set the tone for the 21st century. We have an opportunity today to move forward out of the year's crises and into the future's well-being. We must make a commitment to resolve the problems that hinder a better future. What I've seen and learned at Beverly is that this can be done. Members of our graduating class have worked to make a positive difference. Students organized an environmental assembly to increase ecological awareness, and others worked to bring the AIDS quilt to Beverly, and with it, assemblies to inform the student body about the dangers of AIDS. A grief group was put together for students who needed help coping with trauma, and students helped raise money for victims of the January earthquake. Other students have been active in the recently formed conflict resolution group, which tries to unite opposing forces peacefully. While few may be aware, there are students from 55 countries represented here at Beverly. We have been taught how to react to racial tension with peaceful solutions, as many in the class of '94 participated in a new group called WISH, a world in search of harmony. We have started here on the road we need to follow in order to ensure that our generation will be defined by good works and positive deeds such as these. As we look back at Normandy and are grateful to those who enabled us to live in freedom, let us hope that 50 years from now, the class of 2044 will be thankful for our generation's achievements. Let us hope that we will be remembered as the generation of commitment. Commitment to turning tragedy into triumph, division into unity, and danger into opportunity. Beverly has prepared us. It is now up to us to ensure that this happens. As a famous rabbinic saying notes, it is not our job to finish the work, but it is our responsibility to engage in it.
Something is stirring, shifting ground, it's just begun.
Edges are blurring all around, and yesterday is done.
Feel the flow, hear what's happening, we're what's happening.
We're what's happening.
Don't you know? We're the movers and we're the shapers. We're the names in tomorrow's papers. Up to us now to show up. It's our time, breathe it in. Worlds to change and worlds to win. Our turn coming through. Me and you, pal, me and you. Feel how it quivers on the brink. Everything gives you the shivers, makes you think. There's so much stuff to sing. And you and me will be singing it like the birds. Me with music and you the words. Tell them things they don't know.
Up to us, pal, to show up.
It's our time, breathe it in. Worlds to change and worlds to win. Our turn, we're what's new. Me and you, pal, me and you. Feel the flow.
Hear what's happening.
We're what's happening.
We're what's happening long ago. All we had was that funny feeling, saying someday we'd spend them really. Now it looks like we can.
Someday just began.
It's our heads on the block. Give us room and start the clock. Our time coming through. Me and you, pal, me and you. Me and you.
It's
Me and you. Me and you. Me and you. Me and you.
And
Me
we'll
and
win.
you. Our turn coming through. Me and you, pal, me and you.
As principal, I have the honor to present our platform guest. However, before I do that, I want to pay special tribute to the teaching staff members of our school who are in the audience. On behalf of the entire school community, I would like to thank them for their commitment to a life's work of educating young people. A special thank you to Dr. Alan Weiner, Dr. Judy Warren, and seated in the audience, Mr. Tom Ferris, who have given us over 100 years of service. Thank you. Seated in their colorful robes are department chairpersons, counselors, class sponsors, and administrators who have been privileged to work with this graduating class. Would you join me in recognizing their special contributions to our school? Thank you. Seated on the platform are also members of our Board of Education who in these difficult times provide the leadership required to maintain the quality of our educational program. Month after month, I have seen their commitment, dedication, and tireless efforts on behalf of the school district. Mrs. Lillian Raffel, President, Mr. A.J. Wilmer, Vice President, Dr. Phil Harris, Mrs. Joanne Copeland, Mr. Richard Stone, and Superintendent Saul Levine and Assistant Superintendent Dr. Bert Perlman. Would you please join me in a warm welcome? Also, a very special thanks to the custodial staff, the secretarial staff, the maintenance staff, and the gardening staff for the work that they've done for today's events. To Mr. Rick Munitz, who coordinates, the assistant principal, coordinates this entire program. Thank you, Rick. As I began thinking about graduation, 4 aspects came to mind. Number 1, the graduates, people with emotions and feelings. Number 2, the graduation day and event. Number 3, the world into which you graduate, a known entity. And number 4, the future, an unknown entity. Graduates, you are most fortunate to be graduating from Beverly Hills High School. What is the significance of a Beverly Hills High School graduation? You are well prepared academically to pursue whatever you desire. You are balanced, you have experienced much at Beverly Hills High School, and you have benefited greatly. You are problem solvers. You see problems as challenges that can be met, and opportunities to be achieved. You are community-minded. You have lived and been educated in a community overflowing with pride in its youth and the education they receive in this city. This experience should guide you well as you become future citizens of communities. Graduation day, the event, is a milestone, the accumulation of many years of schooling and the end of the first block of highly structured educational time called elementary and secondary education. It is a celebration of friendship, of accomplishments and honors, of being, for each of you is unique and bring to the world great promise for the future. Graduation is a family day. Parents and siblings have been major influences on this process called growing up. Through nurturing family environments, students receive unconditional love and support, but also learn limits which prepare them to live within the limits of our society. They experience a safe environment in which to try new things and make mistakes, for certainly growing up is making mistakes and learning from these mistakes. Graduation is a friend's day. You have attended school together for many years, shared many experiences, weathered many traumas. There is much joy and happiness, but there is sadness too, as you leave your friends for new locations and new experiences. The third aspect of my graduation thought is the world into which you graduate, a known entity. The 90s are a precarious time. The world changes daily, both geographically and politically. Health issues are of great concern. New diseases, drug-resistant diseases, health care. Economic and social issues plague Southern California. Natural disasters drain our financial coffers. Environmental issues continue to present challenges. Citizens need to take responsibility for the earth, and the 94 graduates must stand up for this challenge, for we can no longer take this planet for granted. But this is also an exciting time to graduate because there is so much to do, so much opportunity to be conscientiously and actively involved in creating and improving our society. Finally, my graduation thoughts move to your future, an unknown entity, an uncharted course. Thoughts of the future invoke different emotions: excitement, anxiety, anticipation, confusion, fear of the unknown. However, each of you can turn to the future into a new charted course. Planning one's future can be exciting and energizing, but also scary and disappointing. As your lives unfold, your plans will require changes. Perhaps one of the most important things to remember is though we can't control the events in our lives, we can control how we respond to these events, how we allow them to affect our lives. In conclusion, these aspects are all to be enjoyed to the fullest as they mark a major celebration of life. On behalf of myself and the faculty and the staff of Beverly Hills High School, I wish each and every one of you the happiness of a productive life, the respect of your fellow human beings, and the love of your family. May the future years be yours. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you the class of 1994. Dr. Harris, you are the representative of the governing board of this school district. The members of the class have fulfilled the requirements as prescribed by the state of California and the Board of Education, and I recommend that they be granted diplomas of graduation.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'll try to keep it brief, but know it's very hot. I'd like to thank you for being here today. I'd like to thank you for being here today to honor these students. The Beverly Hills Board of Education's primary responsibility is to these students of this district. Therefore, I'm going to turn around and I will direct my brief remarks, not a speech, to these graduating students. Not a speech, I said. I learned some time ago that to compete with our students in speech making is a lesson in humility I don't care to endure. Today's graduating students, on behalf of the Board of Education, I congratulate you, the class of 1994, for your accomplishment. As you can all will appreciate, graduating from Beverly is no small task since this is one of the most competitive high schools in the state and indeed maybe in this nation. And we set high standards and expect superlative performance because we believe high achievement always takes place in the framework of high expectations. This is your day. It has finally arrived, and we all applaud you. I am quite well acquainted with a number of you. My own twin daughters, Nicole and Michelle, and a niece, Diana Mannheim, I am proud to say are among your classmates. And through them, I know many of you personally. I have even been to some of your best parties over the past years, since you chose to have them on Hillcrest in my own backyard. I admit some of your antics made my wife and me a little nervous, especially the time when we were not at home. Even our kids were not at home. But we want you to know it contributed to keeping us young in spirit. And you are always welcome to come back to my home when we are at home. I have served with two very capable and mature classmates of yours as members of the Board of Education, Jubin Mirage last year and Nili Ilel this year. Jubin Mirage and Nili Ilel, these two individuals have been your gift to the Board of Education. They have spoken out with courage and clear thinking. The rest of us on the board were given a good lesson in leadership by these two. We would do well in using them as models for our own behavior. If this represents the type of leadership you produce in future years, you have a very fine beginning in defining your generation. Like Jubin and Nili, first commit yourself to participating in the political and social process that ultimately will define your generation. That process begins with educating yourself intelligently on the issues in front of you. Then speak out and be heard. And for goodness sake, exercise your privilege, or should I say obligation, to vote. And if you have not yet registered to vote, please do so this summer. And now your vote, as well as your voice, will count in Beverly Hills. You have gained a lot of experience outside the classroom here at Beverly, which may help you shape your generation to come. You have been front row witnesses, or possibly even victims, in monumental disasters. Will any of you ever forget the January 17th earthquake, ever in your life? Or the devastating fires last year? Or the Los Angeles riots 2 years ago, as has been mentioned before? Will these events move your generation to be more sensitive to preparation or solutions for these calamities, whether man-made or natural? You have also been exposed to a virtual barrage of brutality in this world. What role will this play in defining your generation? The brutality has always been there in other generations, but now you know it because it is brought to you live in such horrifying volume and detail by the media. Will the media hype condition you to accept this level of brutality, or will it motivate you to attempt to reduce it? I don't have the answers to these questions. Only you can provide them in the future. While here at Beverly, you have been in the middle of the great debate over public education. You have experienced a strike firsthand. 3 failed parcel tax initiatives, endless conflicts between the Board of Education and the community and its teachers. A statewide struggle over a voucher plan to fund private schools with state money, and the beginning of educational reform. What are you going to do about this when you assume the reins of responsibility? I will not preach to you about what should be done, but I will ask you to remember 2 major truths. 1, remember the care, the concern, the love, the dedication of your teachers, counselors, principals, security officers, indeed. Let's hear it for the security officers. They have the hardest job in the school. Secretaries and all the staff of all your schools. The vast majority of these people are not here just for a job. We are not able to, or choose not to, depending on your viewpoint, pay them well enough to stay around just for the job. They are here because they love kids and they want to make a difference in your life, be probably the greatest difference in your life, except for your parents. Please treat them better in your generation than we have in our generation. Second, remember that no democracy will survive unless the people are well informed, nor will any nation flourish unless the people are well educated. All I ask is that you remember these 2 truths. As a final note, I will venture one definition of your generation. You are and will be a generation known for its diversity and its acceptance of that diversity. You are actually practicing what the preceding generation only said should be practiced. And as Johann Wolfgang von Goethe said, if you treat an individual as if he were what he ought to be and could be, he will become what he ought to be and could be. This is the practice and the result of what you are doing now. Keep it up. You are now ready to join the other 30,000 plus graduates of Beverly High. You too will distinguish yourselves as your predecessors have, I'm quite confident. After all, if you can make it at Beverly High, you can make it anywhere. Thank you and good luck. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you, Dr. Harris. We will now have the awarding of diplomas by the counselors and the Board of Education.
Okay. Neely Yvette Hillel.
Michael David Winston.
Robin Hakim.
Laura Danielle Weiner.
Deborah Emma Haddad.
Erez Weitzman.
Jonathan Robert Harris.
Jessica Kendrick Wilds.
Orly Hakimi.
Corey Weiss.
Jeffrey Allen Harrow.
Leela Esther Yaditsian.
Sharon Homodat.
Jason Matthew Wolf.
Charles S. Hasagawa.
Ann Yen.
Shiva Sher Harati.
Johnny P. Wong.
Brandon Christopher Hearn.
Fargo Limor Yanezi.
Chastity Marie Hedel.
Lucas Seth Worthing.
Stephen Mark Hinden.
Krista Michelle Zeck.
Jeanette Marie Hayden.
Hesam Yazdan Pana.
Donovan J. Hove.
Lynn Zelser.
Dina Samantha Heller.
Christopher Yui Young.
Taylor Adarimi Humphreys.
Yvonne Yee.
Carey Lisa Herskovich.
Shaheen Sean Zachariah.
Wesley Hutchinson.
Sam Zyme Jam Shidizadeh.
Todd William Crane.
Sharuz Zugi.
Chantal Tammy Ifra.
Gregory Stolerman.
Jason Edward Krasnow.
Sandra Renata Steelhack.
Evan Matthew Klinger.
Philippe Melik Sukias.
Samuel Robert Klein.
Jane Un Su.
Shayna Dove Khan.
Morgan Susser.
Ezra Tony Chuweki.
Gia Yael Brian Tock.
Adam Scott Colbert.
Antoinette Caroline
Hunter.
Wei Hong Tang.
Jason Adam Cooper.
Ponte
Sharam Jahanian.
Mandara Dawn Takowski.
Melissa Ann Karp.
Eric Kwan Sang.
Matthew Allen King.
Jeffrey Allen Harrow.
Leela Esther Yaditsian.
Sharon Homodat.
Jason Matthew Wolf.
Charles S. Hasagawa.
Ann Yen.
Shiva Sher Harati.
Johnny P. Wong.
Brandon Christopher Hearn.
Fargo Limor Yanezi.
Chastity Marie Hedel.
Lucas Seth Worthing.
Stephen Mark Hinden.
Krista Michelle Zeck.
Jeanette Marie Hayden.
Hesam Yazdanpana,
Donovan J. Hove,
Lynn Zelser,
Dina Samantha Heller,
Christopher Yui Young,
Taylor Adarimi Humphrey,
Yvonne Yee,
Herskovich,
Shaheen Sean Zachariah,
Wesley Hutchinson,
Sam Zyme Jam Shidizade,
Todd William Cranes,
Sharuz Zugi,
Chantal Tammy Ifra,
Gregory Stolerman,
Jason Edward Krasnow,
Sandra Renata Steelhack,
Evan Matthew Klinger,
Philippe Melik Sukyas,
Samuel Robert Klein,
Jane Un Su,
Shayna Dove Khan,
Morgan Susser,
Ezra Tony Cheweki,
Gia Yael Sun,
Ariel Aaron Cohen,
Edward Chun Hyan Tak,
Adam Scott Colbert,
Antoinette Caroline Tabibi,
Nina Danielle Cantor,
Wei Hung Tang,
Jason Adam Cooper,
Pantea Tahur,
Courtney Lisa Karp,
Alejandro Eduardo Tompkinson,
Sharam Jahanian,
Mandara Dawn Takowski,
Melissa Ann Karp,
Eric Kwan Sang,
Matthew Allen Kamen,
Pune Michelle Tanayam,
Sherman Yamin Kashani,
Bhutan Mohammed Vahidi,
Michael M. Amiri,
Joey Marie Taylor,
Connie Kawaguchi,
Edward Frederick Viahar,
Ilan Kashanian,
Iris Tinfas,
Victoria Kachatorian,
Alexander Vinitsky,
Elliot Najat Kermani,
Anastasia Marie Troxel,
Bahara Khorshidi,
Jonah Ross Watts,
Omid Khorshidi,
Alexandra Victoria von Gimnick,
Kimberly Michelle Kiang,
Jonathan Berliner Weinbach,
Arthur Shin Kim,
Nemia Turcios,
Gina Yuli Kim,
Heather Brooke Wolko,
Dennis Lewis Kim,
Kevin Matthew Weintraub,
Miriam Yaffa Kramer,
Delphine Welter,
Nicholas Christopher Bregman,
Rebecca Leanne Spall,
Carolyn Shoham,
Frederick Jerome Stewart,
Luke Hooper Buffum,
Lauren Bess Steele,
Geraldine Laura Aaron,
Payam Shabui,
Sufyan Fayaz Barakat,
Katia Elkin,
Zachary C. Boutzer,
Afshin David Shamash,
Tiffany Aronson,
Barry Nicole Schwab,
Brian Charles Basilauskas,
Raphael Shaulian,
Beta Azelman,
Sanam Seema Shamsi,
David Bahar,
Andrew Tak Jun Shin,
Laura Elise Azria,
Yalda Sharif,
Robbie Matthew Belsley,
Young Cheng Shu,
Tina Bahari Mohagam,
Lauren Faith Sherry,
Stephen Benvenisti,
Ruben Abraham Sementob,
Kendra Ann Becker,
Michael Steffen,
Alex Baruchim,
Nicholas Solomon,
Jennifer Nicole Brandt,
Natalie Sementub,
Seth Morris Burley,
Lawrence Daniel Sloan,
Jennifer Crystal Brennan,
Ronit Soleimani,
Michael Asil,
Arta Sultan Ramati,
Desmona Laura Arenas,
Asa Sultan Ramati,
Stephen Gregory Blank,
Skant Somchana,
Liza Stewart Buckbinder,
Beta Melissa Sufer,
Gabriel Adam Bodner,
Tarek Philippe Suki,
Nicole Chloe Buffett,
Saba Sumek,
Jeremy Patrick Booth,
Gregory Ryan Spinrad,
Iko Natividad Canillas,
Shannon Iko Springs.
Harry W. Kim.
Leila Sayar.
Matthew Brian Brooks.
Erica Eileen Siegel.
Kelly J. Joseph.
Shannon Sanam Setare.
Noah Raphael Bubman.
Jacqueline Lisa Romerdal.
Gabriela I. Cabrams.
Susan Sophia Rodzai.
Camille R. Ace.
Zachary Houston Rosenfield.
Patrick B. Afsharieh.
Douglas Sanford Rosen.
Yael Joy Aflalo.
Craig Robert Ross.
Alexander George Agrafiotis.
Julie Beth Rosen.
Johanna Frida Afshani.
Kambiz Ellis Ruhi.
Saman Aklaji.
Elise Michelle Roth.
Rachel Faye Agajanian.
Thomas Anthony Ryan.
David Andrew Allen.
Shanika Nicole Royal.
Emmy Agvado.
Kiarash Elliot Saidnia.
Amir H. Kashani.
Hikaru Saito.
Katrine Akzaji.
Nicole Diana Rukti.
Joshua Eli Amsalin.
Adam Gabriel Salzman.
Shana Alai.
Tiffany Nicole Russo.
Timothy Parham Amandopur.
Mark Eric Samuel.
Limor Alkalay.
Nushin Sadat.
Shariar Ashuri.
Michael Leon Schwartz.
Sahar Al-Shahi.
Arshia Sabag Fard.
Arash Ashurzadeh.
Bita Savis.
Vanessa Ashley Alpert.
Sharon Saedi.
Simon B.
Shane Edward Scott.
Maria Pia Altavia.
Jacqueline D. Safran.
Eitan Chaim Atias.
Kyle Manny Shore.
Shiva Amin.
Cara Michelle Sands.
Alberto Atri.
Jonathan Silver.
Regatas Tiffany Appling.
Rachel Cecily Sanford.
Arash Aziz Goshani.
Daniel Arye Schwartzblatt.
Sharona Sarah Amanpour.
Sunny Sung Hee Park.
Shaheen Banayan.
Mason Alexander Porter.
Cherie Lacole James Britt.
Stacy Dawn Paris.
Norbert Ackerman.
Arash Purat.
Maziar Kozarka.
Julia Piersanti.
Angela Christina Galdamez.
Jordan Fox Pines.
Christopher Gambo.
Marisa Pineda.
Perry Dina Geller.
Ashkan Rabie.
Daniel Eric Gottlieb.
Danielle Ann Plantek.
Lily Gaffori.
Jimmy Paul Ramos.
Daniel Aaron Gitlin.
Noreen Nisha Prasad.
Laura Ann Gidman.
Kazimir Alexei Rankovsky.
Michael Ross Greenberg.
Erin Suzanne Paul.
Danielle Janine Gerard.
Seth Jordan Rappaport.
Joshua Ahab Gross.
Stephanie Joy Pafcher.
Kelly Ann Godsick.
Gabriela Star Quintanilla.
Jeffrey Robert Grossman.
Shervin Sean Rashti.
Dahlia Goldchan.
Marjan Rafei.
Steve Ferristing.
Tal Raz.
Vivian Goldenberg.
Marina Rashkovan.
Ari Santo Putahayan.
Michael Allen Rogovin.
Julie Diane Gordon.
Pepe Rose Ryan.
Sang Ik Nguyen.
Arshia Refua.
Nora Faye Gottfried.
Tammy Reese.
Swemi Noemi Guerra.
Tamir Reichman.
Melissa Charlene Harris.
Romina Rivani.
Michelle Harris.
Andre David Recknitzer.
Nicole Suzanne Harris.
Sylvia Beatriz Rodriguez.
Michelle Roberta Heyman.
Charlene Neiman.
Anna Hoffman.
Jared Shigeshi Nishikawa.
Jennifer Lynn Fogel.
Gali Noy.
Minnie Egosi.
Mark Moshe Nissan.
Alexandria Simrat.
Aram Okovat.
Kurash Etema Gadadam.
Eran Nitka.
Tina Roya Danashrad.
Rebecca Ann Orlov.
Manuel Krems Berdichevsky.
Young O.
Deborah Ilya Dardashti.
Orna Urshalimi.
Gandhi Ario Senyo Hendratmo.
John H. Peng.
Lamanda Janine Harris.
Kimberly Ann Pardines.
Reza Mohammed Fazel.
Nikola Perenchevich.
Revital Dokanian.
Khalid Mughal.
Matthew Harrison Fisher.
Bita Nabati.
Christina Letitia Dorif.
Michael Michio Namba.
Brett David Freeman.
Marsha Ann Nadel.
Maya Drasler.
Mayor Moshe Nazarian.
Alexander Frid.
Mark Jonathan Miller.
Ursula Ann Dooling.
Joshua Shai Mizrahi.
Nicholas Samuel Friedberg.
Mitchell Saul Modeb.
Sharona Elia Hozade.
Tiffany Tanako Nagai.
Joe Anthony Paul Genera.
Fardad Dani Monanpur.
Jessica Ann Entner.
Marlon James Montgomery.
Giev Jaron Mayai.
Laura Leticia Ortiz.
Jason Mark Gianni.
Farshad Eli Moore.
Gabriel P. Gettleson.
Reuven Moser.
Barbara Christina Farias.
Teresita Cunnan Taylor.
Sammy Galili.
Howard David Norman.
Parvaz Afranian Farnad.
Marlon Latron.
Babak Gassemier.
Allison Nicole Michelle.
Vanessa Ann Fields.
Ashley Brett Lund.
Gina Aaron Fagan.
Karine Mandelbaum.
See me after this. Julie Shu Ping Chow.
Reza Madavi.
Amir Darobaksh.
Diana Alice Manheim.
Carmen Chavez.
Joseph Benjamin Maloney.
Gregory Adam Holden.
Jamie Beth Mark.
Nancy J. Chen.
Elizabeth Lee Markman.
Matthew Robert Diamond.
Alexander Monason.
Christine Samantha Chipras.
Pantea Mavadat.
Dennis Gregory Dolatina.
Neil David Maman.
Mary Mi Cho.
Kimberly Michelle Maynard.
Claudia Dunkelman.
Elias Isaiah Martinez.
Phyllis Chung.
Enoch Israel Martinez.
Doron Dovark.
Farnaz Maharabanian.
Crystal Violetta Clark.
David Edward McClin.
Naoki Ichiko.
Aura Liseth Mendez.
Kimberly Diane Cohen.
Roni Estarado Mendrano.
Saman Shomantob.
Aaron Brad Luckett.
Thomas Jung.
Farad Mahadizada.
Parishart Seitan.
Xanthine Mary Moore.
Reza Sabiri.
Bhutan Melamed.
Tal Polani.
Rachel Rita Moore.
Stacy Paella.
Juban Mirage.
William King.
Cynthia Heather Morris.
Thomas Lloyd Grove.
Philip Joseph Metz.
Angela Ching Wen Chang.
Israel Angel Lateras.
David Young Cho.
Charles Carl Loomis Chrisman.
Young Hong Chang.
Karen Carolyn Iney.
Belinda Ching E. Chang.
Joshua Ivan Crum.
Ruben Alexander Einstein.
Julie Beth Gilman.
Baron Kishimoto.
Carlos Federico Lajas Palacio.
Anat Caspi.
Teresa He Kim.
Sam Delajanti.
Sharok Lalazarian.
Corey Benjamin Kashif.
Sue Jean Coe.
Jeremiah Dalton Kelman.
Arash Lalazari.
Joseph Zanton Kurtzman.
Desiree Cohen.
Alex David Ichi.
Anthony Keith Levy.
Natalie Francis Kadosh.
Regal Mignon Shaw Medina.
Andre Chavez.
Matthew J. Lewinson.
Me Lee Margarita Cantarero.
Heather Michelle Kubinek.
Alana Dawn Stickle.
Brian Michael Lichterman.
Camille Antoinette Cardinelli.
Suzette Alyssa Levine.
Stephen Ray Chen.
Abram Blue Lieberman.
Tiffany April Carter.
Audrey Jade Lee.
Gerald Michael Cohen.
Nujan John Lin.
Hei Wan Cha.
Corina Renee Lee.
Andrew Todd Compton.
Julie Sangmin Lee.
Natalie Rachel Chaman.
Wanchun Liu.
Omid Donenbachshash.
Victoria Rose Leonard.
Angela Chanda.
Christopher Ryan Livingston.
Siamak Daneshvar.
Jennifer Lynn Levy.
Julianne K. Chang.
Dina E. Moss.
Carl Raymond Daniels.
Michelle Dora Lieberman.
Amir Sheffer.
Payam I. Lobnan.
Tanya Yousefzadeh.
Christina W. Liu.
Michael Allen Pearl.
Danielle Hannah Monasan.
Michelle Renee Tannenbaum.
Avi Spiegel.
Brian Scott Leesner. Ashley James Johnson. Tanaz Tina Banemo. Niall Alexander Curtis. Susan Choi. Janet M.U. Hong. Sarah Michelle Myers. That's it.
From the moment I set foot on this very ground to the day I graduate at last, I have been overjoyed and thankful to have found the education friendship and memories past. Be a leader, not a follower, is what they told me. Get involved, but remember to study hard. And from day one, that's what I set out to be. Yet I never forgot about my report card. Taking advantage of the opportunities before my face, I knew for sure that I had found the right place. Beverly enabled me to find the best in myself, both inside and outside the classroom. I learned many valuable lessons that came not from a bookshelf, as I strived to acquire the knowledge that I so yearned. Being exposed to multiculturalism taught me very fundamental skills which helped me to become less judgmental. And now we must move on to another stage where we must rise above the rest. It is my promise that the memories of Beverly will never age. My fellow classmates, I wish you the best. Success will come because of who you are. I'm confident that in life you will go very far. I can only hope the seed of ambition that was planted in me will steadily grow. Forever I will try not to take things for granted. From my high school experience, I know. But I am graduating. Who could ask for more than to graduate with a class of 1994? And now will you please join us in singing the Alma Mater?